Vestibule and cochlear. So there is two parts. Vestibule and cochlear present in the ear. They receive the sound signals and conveying it to brain. Also, it performs uh, body balance. But it is responsible for our body balance. How? Whenever we climb mountain in high altitude, we get vomiting. The epignostic center gets activated because our labyrinth there is a fluid. This is called endolymph. They get sensitized whenever we climb up. These liquids, when they move, they come to know that this is not the normal level. So they send signal to the brain that something is not normal, and we get vomiting because of this. So this nerve is responsible for that, and this is for sensory. Now the cranial nerve ninth. Cranial nerve 9, VG, glossopharyngeal nerve. So glossopharyngeal nerve, this is our glossopharyngeal nerve. This is our glossopharyngeal nerve. So glosso means tongue, pharyngeal means pharynx. So glossopharyngeal nerve, it supplies the posterior 1/3 of the tongue, anterior 1/3, anterior 2/3 of the tongue taste bud are supplied by facial nerve, and the remaining 1/3 of the tongue is supplied by glossopharyngeal nerve, and also it supplies the pharynx, larynx, muscles of the neck. And it also helps in deglutition, swallowing of the food. Whatever we eating, it gets swallowed because of this glossopharyngeal nerve. If a person is paralyzed, this person is having this nerve paralyzed, then he is not able to deglute his food. So here it is a sensory plus motor. So nature will be mixed. Simple. Now our 10th cranial nerve, which is the longest cranial nerve. This is our vagus. So vagus nerve. This is cranial nerve 9th. Nature. See, it supplies heart, lung, bronchus, bronchi, and the GI tract, the whole GI tract. So nature is, they get the signal, they send signals to the brain, and same time they receive signals from the brain. The contraction, the peristaltic movement, contraction of the heart. So everything is done by the same nerve. So it is both. So it is mixed. Now cranial nerve 11th. Cranial nerve 11th is our spinal accessory or accessory nerve. This is our cranial nerve 11. And nature, let's see. Accessory nerves, this is responsible for the movement of the head from left to right, and the movement of trapezius muscles of the neck and shoulder and head. So it is responsible for the motor movement. So nature will be motor. Now somewhere here lies the 12th cranial nerve. This is our 12th cranial nerve, which is hypoglossal. This is responsible for cranial nerve 12, This is responsible for the movement of your tongue, but if you protect your tongue and you are able to rotate it, you are able to move it. Once you bring out your tongue from your mouth and you are able to rotate it, because of this hypoglossal nerve, it is responsible for only the movement of the tongue, not for the taste. So it is which type of nerve? It is motor in nature. So here all the 12 cranial nerves are completed. Moving from frontal lobe to the cerebrum, we are getting all the 12 nerves. Only 2 nerves arising from the cranial cerebrum, that is olfactory and optic. Rest of them arises from midbrain, pons and medulla. So if somebody will ask you which is the longest cranial nerve, longest में कौन है? Longest is vagus. Largest trigeminal. Smallest trochlear. So these are the nerves, and also you can remember in nature: sa sa ma ma, mi ma mi sa, mi mi ma ma. S for sensory, M for motor, MI for mixed. So largest cranial nerve is our vagus nerve, and the longest is vagus nerve, largest is trigeminal, and smallest is trochlear. Thus we have completed all the cranial nerves. So these are the 12 cranial nerves. That quick revision: cranial nerves from frontal lobe going downwards to the cerebrum. We are getting all the cranial nerves. It's ascending order, and only 2 cranial nerves arising from the cerebrum, that is cranial nerve 1 and cranial nerve 2. Now cranial nerve 1 is olfactory nerve, which is sensory in nature, which is responsible for the smell. Cranial nerve 2, which is optic in nature, which is sensory, which is responsible for the vision. Cranial nerve 3 is oculomotor nerve, which is motor in nature, which is responsible for movement of the eyeballs. Cranial nerve 4 is trochlear nerve, which is motor in nature. It is responsible for the downward movement of the eyeball. Cranial nerve and trochlear nerve is the smallest cranial nerve. Now trigeminal nerve is the largest cranial nerve, which is mixed in nature. It is responsible for the mastomastication. It supplies the ophthalmic area and mandible and maxilla. So the sense on face, whatever we feel, is because of this trigeminal nerve. And the cranial nerve 6 is abducens nerve, which is responsible for the lateral movement of the eyeball. It is motor in nature. Facial nerve 7th nerve is facial nerve, which is mixed in nature. Anterior 2/3 of the tongue, whatever it receives the taste, it sends to the brain. It's performing the sensory which is sensory in nature, and the facial expression whatever we make because of this facial nerve. So it is mainly mixed. Cranial nerve 8 is vestibulocochlear, which is responsible for hearing and body balancing. Suppose we goes in an airplane, and for sometimes our ear becomes weak, not able to hear properly because of this labyrinth present in our. This is because of the endolem which is present in our ear. The easily notice the change in the altitude, and that's why we are getting, and we are sometimes we getting vomiting after climbing in mountain because of this vestibulocochlear nerve. Glossopharyngeal nerve. Glosso means tongue, pharyngeal means pharynx. So it here, and the rest of the 1/3 part is supplied by the glossopharyngeal nerve. This is cranial nerve 9th, and it supplies 1/3 of the posterior 1/3 of the tongue, sending the sense of taste to the brain. And pharyngeal part, which supplies the larynx, pharynx and muscles of the neck also for the deglutination and the swallowing of the food. This is mixed in nature. Cranial nerve 10th, which is vagus, which is also the longest cranial nerve. It supplies heart, GI tract and the lung and the bronchus whole part. So it is mixed in nature. It also it's sending a message to the brain and receiving message to the from brain. Cranial nerve 11th accessory or spinal accessory nerve, which is motor in nature, responsible for movement of the head, shoulders and neck, trapezius muscles. Cranial nerve 12, hypoglossal nerve. Hypo means hypoglossal nerve, glossal means tongue. Again, it is responsible for the rotation movement of the tongue, not for the tail. So here we have completed all the cranial nerves. So in the previous lecture we have finished all the cranial nerves, and here is the trick how to remember this. First, in your notebooks, make 6 columns. In the first column you write the mnemonic O O O T T A F V G V A H. Now write, on occasion our trusty truck acts funny, very good vehicle anyhow. In the second column write the cranial nerve 1, 2 up to 12. Okay, and in the third column write the name of all the cranial nerves, like first cranial nerve olfactory, second cranial nerve optic, third cranial nerve oculomotor, fourth trochlear, fifth trigeminal, sixth abducens, seventh facial, eighth vestibulocochlear, 9th glossopharyngeal, 10th vagus, 11th accessory or spinal accessory cranial nerve, 12th that is hypoglossal. And in fourth column write another mnemonic to remember the nature of the nerve. Some says money matter, some says marry money, but my brother says big brains matter more. So S is for sensory, again S is for sensory, M for motor, again M for motor. B denotes both, means it is mixed in nature. M again motor in nature, mean absence is motor in nature. B both, S sensory, B both, brains, B both, matters and both. So we are getting sa mama, me ma, me sa, me mama. So the 12 cranial nerves, what the nature you can remember by this mnemonic. And the another mnemonic to remember this name of this olfactory nerve is like I am writing here, only one of the two athletes felt very good, victorious and healthy. So here are the two mnemonics. On occasion our trust truck acts funny, very good vehicle anyhow, or you can remember by this, only one of the two athletes felt very good, victorious and healthy. And you can remember the cranial nerves in this way, and the nature which I have told, Sasa Mama, or why this some says money. There are two mnemonics by which you can learn it easily. So in this lecture we have completed cranial nerves. In this series of the nervous system we have completed all the central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and in the coming lecture we are going to study the spinal nerves.